D.C. was still out of control. A loud rally of several hundred protesters streamed in front of our state capitol, peaceful until a sizable portion of them illegally took that protest right to Governor Inslee's front door. They did that by shaking that secure wrought iron gate until it actually broke. And state troopers were clearly not prepared for what happened next. Some of those protesters appeared to be carrying loaded guns when they surrounded the governor's mansion. Camera 7's Gary Horker is there live right now. And Gary, you have covered stories at the mansion before. Isn't security usually a lot tighter than what we saw today?
Well, I will tell you this for an example. November 2nd on election night, the same crew I'm working with tonight had to go through layers of security to get up to the mansion. We were escorted up the driveway I'm standing in now. They would not allow our security guard in. And unfortunately, for the first time in the mansion's 112-year history, an angry crowd was allowed to breach those gates and get on the grounds. Protesters focused all their energy into shaking the gates of the mansion, hoping to get Governor Inslee's attention.
Yeah, we paid for this mansion. Oh yeah, we're taking it over.
And then suddenly, this usually very secure, very heavily guarded place was breached when a gate broke open and the crowd stormed in. One trooper desperately tried to keep some out, but was entirely outnumbered, and many more poured inside, some of them carrying guns. Citing the lockdowns and claiming election fraud, the crowd loudly called for Inslee to come outside.
You do not get to keep your authority when you take our rights.
Only one trooper at first was posted at the front door to keep the crowd outside. And like much of the day, the crowd was angry over feelings of being cheated.
There's enough proof and evidence that there actually is vote fraud. And I wanted to go to Washington, D.C. Because of work, I couldn't do it.
The fact that our politicians aren't listening to us anymore at all.
Eventually, several more troopers and deputies arrived to protect the front of the mansion, and protesters voluntarily left without anyone being arrested.
Probably wasn't the best idea to storm the mansion. I was here a few weeks ago. We didn't storm the mansion.
The governor's security detail later tried to explain the lack of security outside the mansion.
The governor and his family are in a safe location, and they were never in danger.
Inside the mansion, Inslee fired back.
I revile these acts of sedition and intimidation that we've seen in our nation today. And I call on all elected leaders to condemn this.
But some of the protesters left satisfied.
So as long as we left, I think no harm done. And I think got the point across.
Well, back live here, they got their point across by damaging the gate, and I'm going to show you in a live remote here. That padlock and chain is the only thing keeping that closed, but security here is a lot tighter. I did some research tonight, and it turns out there's been round-the-clock security by the State Patrol here since 1917, the day the governor's mansion in Sacramento, California was bombed with dynamite. Since then, everyone who's tried to scale the fence and successfully got on the other side has faced being arrested and charged with criminal trespass. Monique?
We'll see if anything like that happens again. But Gary, it's a good thing you were mentioning that there's some damage to the gate there. That seems to be the only damage, no injuries. But it's not like they didn't have warning that the governor could be a target for protesters.
Right. We were making note that we saw warnings on Twitter at this time last night. And one said, quote, Inslee should take note of what's happening in the gathering D.C. and recognize he's getting dragged out of the mansion by we the people very soon. So all of this, the breach of security, is under review by the State Patrol, leaving lots of questions. Monique?
And we heard one of the protesters ourselves, Gary, saying we were peaceful today. We'll see about the future.